Hey, everybody, it's Clarissa. Welcome back to Local is Global. Listen, today is election day in New York City. I just got back from being out with the community, checking in with voters and hearing what's on people's minds. The energy out there was real. Forgive me, my voice is still a little hoarse from the marathon on Sunday. But, some people were excited to cast their votes and others were unsure, right? Like I was talking to some and some were like, I just don't know. Should I vote? I just don't know if it matters. And I get that. I understand where that's coming from, right? It's coming from years and years of distrust, years of promises, just empty promises. But we as a community, as a collective, have to cast our votes. We have to come together for the greater good of our communities. We got to do it. It's exactly why we need to continue to have these conversations because a lot of people in our communities, doesn't matter what we're going through, doesn't matter how hard it feels and how heavy things feel right now. People are still like, I'm not voting. And that's not the attitude to have, not when the majority of the time the decisions that are being made by politicians directly impact our community, especially here in the South Bronx in my haven. This morning, I talked to folks in the Bronx about the issues, and a lot of issues came up. You hear housing came up over and over. The rent is too damn high. People are struggling. Affordability is important. Jobs, education, safety. Those are the things that I kept hearing as I was asking people, what drives you to the polls? What's the most important issue? There was food insecurity. Some people said sanitation. People said the rats. But there was also something deeper. People are questioning who really represents them. Who represents me in office? And whether politics still works for regular New Yorkers. That was something that people were questioning out there. And I get it. When people say it doesn't matter who wins, I get that. It's not because they don't care. It's because they've seen too many promises go unfulfilled. And that's why we are where we are. And that's why our communities feel like, I don't know. I don't know if it matters, but I'm here to tell you that it does. As someone who ran for office in the primary election, it is so important to make sure that you learn about the candidates in your community who are running for office. I was asking, a lot of people don't even know who the city council candidate is in our district. They are going to vote for mayor and whatever else under that, they'll just go, if you're a Democrat, they're going to go with the Democrat. If you're a Republican, they're going to go with the Republican. Still, what gives me hope is that people are talking. They're asking questions. They're watching closely. That's participation too, right? Like they're not at the polls, but they're watching closely. That's what civic engagement looks like, even when the system feels broken, because the system feels broken. And it has always felt broken for people in the South Bronx, for people in my haven, for people like me who grew up here in the projects. The system has always felt broken and unfair. Now let's talk about what's happening across New York today. You've got leaders like Assemblymember Zoran Mamdani, representing the newer generation, the bold progressive voice, who's pushing the conversations about housing, foreign policy, and economic justice. Zoran is doing his thing. He's getting the young people, he's getting people excited. People are rallying around him. And then we have figures like former Governor Cuomo. I want to talk about just Zoran and Cuomo. Governor Cuomo, he's been part of the state's political landscape for decades and now is testing the waters again, right? Speaking about re-engaging publicly. These guys come from two different worlds. There's two different approaches, two different eras of New York politics, as we can tell. And what's interesting is that it's just not about who's right or who's wrong. It's what this moment says about where we are as a city and as a state. Right now, people are asking, Do we want to experience leadership that's familiar or fresh leadership that challenges the norm? Do we want steady hands or new perspectives? That's really what's happening right now in New York City. There's a battle. The truth is, our democracy needs both. We need someone with wisdom and innovation, accountability. We need to make sure that whoever is in office is accountable. And we need vision. The real challenge is making sure the leadership, no matter who's in office, works for the people, works for the people that they represent in New York City. The real, hardworking people who put in work every day just to live a simple life. So when I was out there today, I spoke to an older man who told me, I've voted for decades, but nothing has changed. I also spoke to young people. One young woman in particular that I remember, she said, I'm voting for the first time. I just hope it matters. And that was deep. That was deep to me because I remember my first time voting. I remember the first time I voted was for president, and it was an election. It was Al Gore and Bush, and we all know what happened there. And I felt defeated. I felt like, does it even matter? You know, that election was interesting, but he lost the election. It was wild. Those two perspectives say everything about where we are right now. We've got generations of people carrying both faith and fatigue, and both are valid. But local elections like this are exactly where our voice counts the most. A lot of times we get caught up in the presidential election, we get caught up in the big elections, but the local elections are what matter the most in our communities. This is when we should be flooding the polls because these are the leaders deciding our parks, our schools, our housing, our health programs. Local leaders are the ones who are deciding this. So when you look at our parks, when you look at the garbage on the street, when you see things like that, that's all local. You can't complain if you're not taking it to the polls. So even if you didn't vote today, don't disconnect. Stay involved. Show up at your community board meetings, your precinct community council meetings, your tenant meetings. Politics isn't just voting. It's showing up in every way that builds power. Everyone has power. You just got to tap into it. And it's not just at the voting booth. While that is power, you can do it in so many other ways. I lost an election. Y'all should have been voting for me today. But it's all good. You know, I pride myself in saying my Bronx numbers, I was on top. This is home. This is our district. I've always said it. Our district should be split. But we're here. And I'm hoping that our next city council person, which is going to be Elsie, does her thing and really, really taps into the Bronx, separates the two and gives us what we need. Our communities are paying attention. Even when it doesn't look like they're paying attention, people want accountability. They want honesty. They want real progress, not just campaign slogans, not just like, you know, I've been in this game for 100 years. People don't want that. They want to feel like as a leader, you respect them. And what that looks like is listening to them. It's coming out. It's building with them because it means that you care. It means that leaders are involved. Anyway, it's big Bronx energy. That's what keeps the city alive. That's what, I'm here to talk about the Bronx. I'm here to talk about what we need. I'm here to talk about the urgency in which we need things. And I'm here to talk about solutions, how we're going to get them, how we're going to tap into the new wave of elected officials to make sure that our community is on top. As we close on this Election Day episode, I want to leave you with this. Whoever wins tonight, the real work starts tomorrow. Because leadership isn't just about titles. It's about service. It's about progress. And progress doesn't come from City Hall. It comes from us. I'm Clarisa Alayeto from the Bronx to the world. Subscribe, share, and let's keep this conversation going.